everybody. Come on in.
Wrong or right. It's not hard to fool me.
Share this stream with your loved ones. We're going to get into it tonight, y'all. Shout out to the Godfather, R.I.P. R.I.P. King.
No need to say
Greatest
where
of
we
all.
are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all.
Shout out to the GOAT.
To the edge of it all. So tell your good night.
Hey.
'Cause I'll find no matter what. Yeah. Susceptible now. Before the moment flies. Ooh. So tell your good night. 'Cause I'll find no matter what.
Put it in the comment section.
Susceptible now. Before the moment flies. It's not a problem. No. 'Cause I know what I'm getting into. Yes. Yeah. And nothing can stop me. No. 'Cause I'm addicted to what you and I.
Come on in to join the conversation. Like the video. Share the video. We're going to drop the link tonight, fam. If you want to come up and share your thoughts, you can do so tonight.
I follow to the edge of it all. So tell your good night. 'Cause I'll find no matter what. Yeah. Susceptible now.
In memory of the Godfather, shout out to the FBI, all of the CIA.
So tell you good night. 'Cause I'll find no matter what.
Did y'all miss us last week? Like the video, share the video. We are in the house tonight. In the house is packed. Yo, listen, did y'all miss us last week? I missed y'all. It feels like it's been so long, but we are back with another show tonight, and I'm a little sad. I got some mixed emotions. I'm excited about tonight's show. However, I'm still trying to process everything that's going on. Shout out to everybody that's supporting the Godfather, right? Trying to get the truth out. We're going to talk about it tonight. A lot of people may know, a lot of people may not know that I was, or still am, a Kevin Samuels supporter, right? But, can y'all hear me? Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Okay, all right, we doing good. So, if y'all can hear me all right, put a 1 in the chat so I know y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can see me. But the Godfather himself, Kevin Samuels, passed on last Thursday, a untimely passing, right? Really, really sudden. It has shaken up the Black community. And some people have some good things to say. Some people have some bad things to say. But we're going to get right into it today. And I'm not by myself. Tonight, I've got some friends with me. But before I do that, I want to welcome all of the new people in the Facebook group, right? If you are in the Facebook group and you just joined, welcome, welcome, welcome. I promise you we're going to get the content going back, started over there. And if you're watching and you want to be a part of the Facebook group, the link to that group is down in the description. We're going to start doing some more stuff on Instagram too. So our Instagrams are in the description box as well. Follow us on IG. We're going to get the conversation started. But before I bring up my friends, who you all have come to know, I wanted to just give some thoughts of my self personally about Kevin Samuels and how I came to come across his content and what he meant to me and what he helped me out with. So let me start by saying, first of all, a lot of the things that Kevin Samuels talked about, these were things that we heard a lot in the barbershops. We heard it a lot on the basketball courts. I told somebody the other day that me and my friends used to talk about some of the same things when we were late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, right? But it wasn't something that men could come out and talk about freely, right? Because we had this thing, and it's still going around. Happy wife, happy life, right? And I've seen so many men live in miserable marriages for a long time. And guys, it happened to me, right? And I think that's why I connected with this message so deeply. And not only did it happen to me, but it happened to some of my friends. It happened to a lot of my coworkers. Going through things that it just did not seem right, and it got to the point to where we thought that as men that this is just how it was supposed to be. Like we were supposed to, just be quiet. Our feelings didn't matter. Our thoughts didn't matter. Our goals, none of that stuff mattered, right? But it wasn't until I came across uh, Kevin Samuels' content and a lot of content creators like him to where I realized that as a man, I matter. And as a man, my feelings matter, right? I have value just like everybody else has value. And I'll just be honest with you, y'all. My pastor told me a long time ago to be careful what you reveal about yourself to people. But I just want to have a bit of a transparent moment here because, y'all, I was in a dark place. And I was in a dark place for a really, really long time, right? And the reason I was in these dark places was because of my relationships, the relationships that I was in. And it seemed like being a good man just was not enough. Mental abuse, abuse, mental abuse, even physical abuse, right? And a lot of men suffer in silence. And I know a lot of people don't think this or don't believe this, but it's a lot more men suffering in silence than what you know, right? And this is why I'm encouraging not just black men, but black women as well. We need to get in therapy because a lot of times we don't know how to heal from our past traumas. And KS helped me to realize that, hey, going to therapy is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. And while I didn't agree with everything that he said 100%, I don't think everybody is 100% right. But a lot of the things that he talked about were true. A lot of the things that he talked about resonated with me, things that I've seen firsthand, right? And a lot of people are grieving and mourning Kevin Samuel's death because he has helped so many people. If you look at a lot of the testimonials, right, about Kevin Samuels, he was putting people together. He was helping people to get married. He was helping other people relationships. I was over on O'Shea's channel earlier, and he was talking about how he would be on the phone with Kevin and people would just be coming up to him all the time, right? All the time, just saying, hey, man, you helped me and my wife out so much. Me and my wife were about to split up, but, we started watching your channel and in the best place that we've ever been in all of these years. And then not only the men, but a lot of women. Yo, Kev, you helped save my marriage. My husband was absolutely miserable and about to leave me, but you helped me to realize it was not just him, but I had to look at myself too. So Kevin helped a lot of people to take accountability, right? And there's a lot of people that don't agree with me. So we're gonna get into it today. And y'all, I got my notes. I got my notes right here. I wrote a lot of stuff down, and we're gonna get into it. But I have to give a little bit of a warning too. It's been a lot of people uh, making up a lot of lies, right? And just trying to slander this man in his untimely passing. But please don't forget that this man had a daughter and he had a mother as well, right? And it's some really cruel people in the world. And I just found out that um, a lot of people are going to be taking some action about uh, content creators and other people making slanderous comments that are not true. So, just a word of warning is coming, and the message will continue to go on. I also heard that all of his accounts are in the process of being transferred over to his family. So the message will live on and continue to go on. And this has lit up a fire in a lot of black men, and uh, black men are really wanting to step up now and make the legacy of Kevin Samuels live on and to help change the image and the narrative of black men. But I have some people with me today. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I'm going to drop the link, right? I'm going to drop the link in a little bit. And anybody who wants to come up can come up, and we will do it respectfully. If I don't know you, you have to be on camera, okay? You absolutely have to be on camera. If I don't know you, no exceptions, all right? So don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share the video. Don't forget to comment down below, and we are going to get into the conversation. Ladies first, I have the one, the only Antoinette. What's going on, Antoinette?
Hey y'all, greetings.
Antoinette, how are you doing
Mhm.
today?
I can't complain too much. I'm always ready for the conversation to see what's going on. Is to give my condolences always to family members, especially when there's children and mothers involved, being that we just celebrated Mother's Day. So,
Right?
mhm.
Absolutely. Well, happy belated Mother's Day to you,
Thank
Miss
you.
Antoinette. And you're looking so lovely on tonight.
Oh,
Thank you so much
thank
for
you. Thank
joining
you.
us. And in the back, we have my good friend, my buddy, my brother. We got Pastor Rob in the building. Say something to the people, Pastor Rob.
Yes, sir. What's going on? What's going on? Listen,
Pastor
I'm
Rob,
excited
do you
about
have
tonight.
something on in the background?
No, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a little bit of an echo.
What about now?
All right, let's see. Not still got
Still got a little echo? Let me see.
still got a little echo. Check your mic input.
What we looking like now?
All right.
That's better?
It's still echoing on my end, but I'll mute myself and say, Mr. Rob.
Hey, what's going on? Listen, I'm going to figure out what's going on with this thing in just a second. But listen, I'm excited about tonight. Good to see you guys. Antoinette, happy late Mother's Day to you and to all the other mothers that are watching us on tonight. So let's get into it.
Hey, we about to get into it tonight, family. So, Antoinette, let's start with you. What do you think about um all of this going on with the untimely passing of Kevin Samuels? Let's start with this. What do you think about his message and his content? Let's start there.
Well, as far as with his message and content, I really had no idea of his existence until we started speaking about him. So I learned about him from you, actually. So with the content uh, that I've reviewed was more of on the negative aspect, the misogynistic aspect of degrading Black women, relationships, the weight aspects, the I guess the way people make it seem his drive was raw and unfiltered per se, and the reception to the community was divisive. And I really didn't do a lot of research with him because I like to keep my own peace in the valley. And with what I've heard surrounding his content, surrounding his existence, surrounding his message was not positive. And the last situations of his untimely passing was a big topic, being that, oh, you were with a Black woman who was a nurse that was trying to save you, and yet you were always, you meaning Kevin Samuels, always talking down against Black women. So there's a lot that's going on with his story that I'm not sure about, and I wasn't too sure about him, especially with the content that we had covered when I was first introduced to him was not in a positive light. So there's always 10 sides to every story. There's his personal life, there's his social life, there's the life in the many hats that he wore. So no one will truly know the truth, just what everybody is receiving from what he showed out. So I really can't speak upon somebody, and then I don't like to speak ill about those who passed. However, comma, if we're speaking about what his message was, from what I am aware of, was not in a positive light, and I can't speak otherwise.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Pastor Rob, what about you? What do you think?
Well, I just really heard of him right after he passed, and I heard a lot of stuff. I heard was negative. I even asked my wife, I'm like, "Hey, who is this cat?" Right? And first word came out of her mouth was a dog. Right? And I'm like, a dog, you know. So I just had to, and then just kind of listening to you as well, because I kind of researched it a little bit today before I had my Bible study. But I see where he did help some people in the positive light, but then I also see where he degraded, you know, women. So it's kind of iffy on that with him. You know, it could just be a front that was putting up, putting up for people. That's probably how he made his money. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the way he died with a Black woman, evidently he still wanted a Black woman in such a way. So I'm just really, waiting to see some comments and what people questions people got. Then I can kind of give some input on the spiritual aspect with it on it. But my wife did say, "Well, Rob, it kind of reminded me of some Color Purple stuff." I'm like, "Oh, really?" So that's like, so that kind of just like, okay, let me look this stuff up. But let's just see what we got on this, JD. I'm interested in hearing what Alabama church girl got to say, Antoinette, just and kind of go with it.
Struggle streaming already. All right. So, Alabama Church Girl has joined us. What do you think, Val? Talk to us.
Hey y'all. First, giving honor to God, who is the head of my life, to all the leaders, saints, and friends. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on in. Um, I apologize for my tardiness, y'all. I'm sorry. I did not hear the question. Could you repeat the question for me?
Absolutely. I was. The question was, what do you think about Kevin Samuels and his message? Whether you think it was good or bad, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
What do I think of his message?
Right.
Um, so we've kind of touched on him before, and I know that he developed a large following over the past couple of years. Um, and from what I have learned, he has actually been a social media presence for some time now. But within the last couple of years, he developed or amassed such a great following because he switched up his delivery. And I, for one, did not appreciate his delivery. I know that we've discussed him before, and I've made it very clear that I don't appreciate someone that will denigrate and degrade and um, behind the guise of I'm just teaching. I don't appreciate that. I cannot stand by that. I cannot stand with it. I can't stand behind it. Because to know the heart of God is to know that he loves people and he respects people. And for you to even come to his presence, he said to come as you were a little child. And I feel that we should have that same type of respect for one another, that you do love your neighbor as you love yourself and treat that neighbor as you would yourself. So I cannot, I respect the fact that he, I respect his hustle, but a lot of times we know that when you get into the fast money life, it leads to a fast expiration. So that part, you have to accept the consequences of your actions. That's the way I see it.
All right. Trying to level up over here, y'all. Trying to level up over here. We're gonna stop circle shrinking. All right. Okay. Well, that's fair. Well, it seems like I am by myself over here. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. It is all good. Now, let me point out just a couple of things that stand out to me. First of all, Kevin Samuels, he started off talking to men. Okay, and what he was trying to do was to change the image of black men, because for the last 20, 30 years or whatever, black men have been getting drugged through the mud, right? And it's always been a negative image of the black men, going all the way back to the Color Purple days, right? But what I see the difference is Kevin was a lot harder on the men than he was on women. You know what I'm saying? If you go back 3, 4 years ago and check out any of his content where he was talking to men, he was a lot rougher on men than he was on women. And he was trying to get men to level up, get their money right, get their image right, so that people would stop looking at us like we're nothing but thugs and criminals, right? He wanted to get black men to a place to where we were leaders in our community again, right? To where we could have respectable black men being leaders in our community. And for those that don't know, Kevin actually preferred black women, right? Uh, Matter of fact, I can't remember which one mentioned the young lady that was with him in his passing, right? But coming from one of his friends, that was somebody he had been seeing for a lengthy period of time, and somebody that he was considering marrying and wanted to have children with, right? But Kevin kept his life private, right? He kept a lot of his his private things in his life private. Kevin Samuels is known for being a controversial figure, and I think his message got lost in the sizzle. I found his platform very interesting. Thank you so much, Gabrielle, for letting your thoughts be heard in the comments. And if you want to come up later on in the show, please feel free to do so. Right? So, I think that Gabrielle is absolutely right. I think that the root of the message got lost. I ain't gonna say a little bit, but for a lot of people missed the message because of his delivery and because of his tone. But if you listen to a lot of his critics and detractors, that's all they can really say about him. They can't say that he's not telling the truth, but they say, well, your tone. Can you change your tone? We like what you're saying, but can you change your tone? He didn't want to change his tone because a lot of the things, let's just be honest, a lot of things people don't hear unless it kind of, you know what I'm saying, smack you in the face a little bit and wake you up. Now, the difference between me and I was just having this conversation with my mother yesterday. The difference between men and women is my friends can come up to me and say, yo, JD, I can tell you've been slacking in the gym, son. You need to get back on it. You looking like a fat piece of crap. And I'll be like, man, you know what? You right. And you know what I do? I go back to the gym the next day. And vice versa. I can do my, hey man, your shirt is too tight around your stomach. You need to do something about that. Man, you right, you right, you right. It's not the same, it's not the same way with women. And I agree, some of the things that he said was a little bit harsh, but the message that he was trying to get out to me wasn't harsh. Alabama Church Girl, you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Well, JD, I don't think it was only his delivery. Um, we can say that Donald Trump said some true things, but if we really listen and we hear his message,
Bruh.
we also know that he was dog whistling, because what comes from the heart reaches the heart. And a lot of things that Kevin Samuel said perpetuated hate. There was something in his message that delivered a hate for Black women.
I disagree with that
And what comes
wholeheartedly.
from the heart, like I said, reaches the heart. And with that, I believe that whatever disdain, resentment, or hatred he had in his heart was being spread through the airways of the social media and these lines that we are on right now. And with that being stated, I think that that's why people could not stomach what he was saying. I mean, even the devil spoke the truth partially. It's not about whether it was true or not. What you say, how you say, it's always, there's always an underlying tone that will have a different message than the words that you're actually speaking.
I disagree with that 100% because Kevin didn't hate black women. And if you really watch his content, a lot of the times where the conversations went off the rails or went left, a lot of times it was because of the energy. He was giving back what was given to him. I've seen a lot of his videos to where it was 100% respectful and never went off the rails, right? But
And that's not
when
what he promoted either.
I I
Because what
I
he's
just
known
I just
for are those salacious clips.
well, exactly, and that's my point. That's one of my points because the thing about it is they people would take the clips right and
No,
use those use
he stated that he promoted those clips.
it, but it wasn't just him. So when he first came out, right? Well, let me rephrase that. Not when he first came out, but when he first started to go viral, right? A lot of people would take very, very small clips, right, of what he was saying and would miss the entire message, right? Would miss the entire context of the whole thing of what he was saying. Let me read the comment on the screen real quick. Thank you so much, Carolyn Sanders, for watching. She says, "Hello, I think a lot of things that he said was true, but it was the way that he said them. Hurting people's feelings is not good." And you know, I'm a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? I really am. I really am a nice guy. But it's some things that I simply will not tolerate, right? One of them being disrespect. However, a lot of times, in order to get the message through to people, if you have to tell somebody the truth, sometimes it's going to hurt your feelings, right? But I think that we live in a time in a society to where you can't say anything to offend anybody. And if it offends anybody, then automatically it's demonized. I saw a clip just a couple of hours ago, right, where people said, somebody was saying, if you want to lose, and we're not going to go down many rabbit holes tonight, but if somebody said, if you want to lose 20 pounds and if the reason that you want to lose the weight is so you can look better or feel better about yourself, is fat phobic. This is the type of society that we're living in, and I think that a lot of people are too soft, and I've never seen so many weak men. You know what I'm saying? And Kevin was trying to build up the men. We're gonna move on and keep the conversation going. However, I want to play something real quick. I want to play something real quick, and it's gonna be several of these clips that I pull up, right? And let me share my screen really quickly, and y'all let me know if y'all can hear this, and we're gonna get into it. Listen.
I have. First of all, may I say something before I get into this discussion with you? It is an honor that I get on this line with you.
Okay.
It's truly an honor.
Well,
I've been watching you for several months, and I truly agree with everything you have to say.
Okay.
And I am not a young woman. I am 71 years old.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I truly understand your mission for what you're trying to do. And I just want to say thank you. And I ask that you stay strong. No matter what happens, you stay strong. Because there's a scripture that says, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. And you are a laborer. And you are laboring in a vineyard that has been truly left to the side. And I just want to say thank you and keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
And just one thing I like to say, that young women, I pray that they are truly paying attention and that they are truly processing and using what you have to say. And young men, I pray that they are listening to you, that they are able to take their proper stand in this world. I do believe that when men learn and move into their proper stand, women will automatically flow into theirs.
I do too.
I was taught, huh?
I said, I believe that as well.
Yeah, I was taught that as a young woman, that God created man, not mankind, but man as the head. And somewhere along the line, and I know where the breakdown came, but somewhere along the line, women forgot that. And we stopped teaching that to our young women. And if we elevate our men, then they will also elevate us.
That's right. I appreciate it, man.
So you keep up the good work, Mr. Samuels, because I have a lot of nieces that I pray that they're really listening to you and heeding all of your advice. Although they don't listen at me, but I do believe coming from a man, they will listen. And I just want to tell you tonight, I thank God for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What do y'all think about that?
You're gonna have some people that agree, you're gonna have some that don't. But again, it depends on whatever episode, whatever topic he was talking about. But the overall presentation, I believe, is what the issue and the problem is. If his message had got misconstrued from when he began, then just like we do, you give the disclaimer, like Chantel does. You give the disclaimer. If you're trying to be consistent and make a difference in the community in which you're trying to assist, then give that disclaimer. So that way you're not losing focus of what your mission is. And it seems as though, like Val said, he got lost in the sauce of the fast life, fast dream, if that's the case, and kind of veered off to tailor to what he was being received through. So if the negative connotation and the negative delivery and drive is what was bringing upon more attention and engagement, then anybody in the financial mind, is going to keep running with it, whether it's ethically, personally, financially good or not. At the end of the day, when he laid his head, as long as he could look in the mirror and be okay with himself, I guess that's fine. But as far as with damaging the community, there needed to be more conversation if that was the case. Like I said, I am not too familiar with him, but as far as with what word is on the street, and usually that's how we get our information, that word on the street, and how he was being received, it's just, I don't know. It just don't sit right.
Well, I think that the comment on the screen is something that we need to try to look at and figure out. Gabrielle White says, I wonder, how do we separate coddling and making excuses for mediocrity and feeding the ego? What's the alternative method for teaching and correction? And see, that's one of the things that I've been trying to say, because we live in a time to where people don't want to be corrected. Even if you try to do it out of a soft place or a place of complete meekness, people will not want to hear correction. People don't want to hear constructive criticism. Nonetheless, tough love, right? Y'all know what tough love is. Our community was built up. Go ahead, Pastor Rob.
Well, when we talk about correction, the person that's doing the correction got to make sure that they're leading by the right example, right? And the part of the clip I did here, because my, stuff started messing up, but the older lady said something that was so profound, is that the Bible speaks of the man being the head of the house. That's what the Bible speaks, right? But how can a man be the head when he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing spiritually, number one, and doing what he's supposed to do in the physical part as going to work, making sure everything's taken care of, right? So I've been on here Googling this man since we've been on this show, right? Just trying to wrap my mind around all of this, right? So yes, he probably have helped from what I see. He has a good track record of helping couples getting back together or trying to make it work and stuff like that. And I commend him on that, right? That he has brought a lot of couples back together. And also I see where he wasn't so nice, and we do talk about tough love, JD. You said something about tough love, right? And sometimes you have to do tough love. One thing I always say, don't wear your feelings on your shoulders, right? But there's a but. It ain't always what you say, it's how you say it, right? So maybe some of the stuff he said, he meant good, but he said it the wrong way, and sometimes it probably was taken out of context, right? Because I'm looking at, he was a dating expert. Okay, excuse my French. How the hell you a dating expert and you know you're not even that married anymore? From looking at this, you are divorced, and you trying to keep other people together. That's just I'm just looking at this, right? But it say you're a dating expert, right? So how can you tell me about my relationship and you ain't even in one personally, right? So I believe, not bashing the man, I don't know the man, but I believe any man, any woman should lead by example, right? I'm on marriage number 2, right? I made a lot of mistakes in marriage number 1, right? That I know not to make in marriage number 2, right? But I can't tell somebody how to prosper in their relationship, and I don't even have one myself, right? I can't, because if I keep failing here, failing there, failing here, I know a preacher right now fit to be on marriage number 4. Negro, please give it up. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, you know what I'm saying? How you gonna counsel somebody and you messed up? So the man got the good, the man got the bad, the man got the ugly, just like all of us, right? And none of us should be judgmental for this man, because none of us have a heaven or hell to put him in. Whichever way he went, we don't know. I don't know, and that's just totally up between him and God, right? But my prayers, hopefully, he did help some people, but he also hurt some people in the long run. And God is a God of love, right? God is a God of compassion. We shouldn't kick our brother and our sister where they're down. We got to find a way to lift them up in whatever aspect. So that's all I had to say on that one.
All right, real quick. Let me push back just a little bit, Pastor Rob. And the reason I want to push back is because were there not times to where God had to come down on his people a little bit harsh? It was times that in order to get God in order for God to get his people to turn back to him, it was several situations all throughout the Old Testament in the children of Israel to where they would turn away from God, right? But God had to make them go through something, right? In order for them to get back. And a lot of times it was tough love. And a lot of times they suffered for a long time, right? And then one thing that comes to my mind is that when the prophet Nathan went to David, right, and told him about himself when he had Uriah killed and had a baby with his wife, the prophet had to say, "Hey, you are the one that did this. You need to look in the mirror and fix this." And what did David do? He went down and he had to repent. He had to take that. Go ahead, Alabama church girl.
But I ain't never read in the scripture, not the old or the new, where God had to basically denigrate, disrespect, and down someone to the point of no return. Everything I've read has said to go to your brother and your sister in love. If you got aught with them, then yeah, correct them, but you always do it in love. It never says anything about tearing anybody down. Correction has to come. It has to happen. Yes, there have been plenty of times God has been so mad at his people, but he always loved them to the point where he would even shut up. The Bible says that God closed his mouth and didn't speak for years because he was so upset with his people. But guess what? The next time he spoke, he was sending a savior their way, because that's what was spoken, that's what was prophesied in the Old Testament, because he loved them. That's when we learned that God loved his people so much that he would give his only begotten son so that we can have everlasting life. I don't ever feel even when we talk about our relationships with our children, people like to look at that as a hierarchy, as well, that you have authority over your child, similar to what the woman in the video was saying, that men are the head and they have an authority over their household, meaning their woman. Even in that, I cannot rip my child to shreds with my words, because there is power of life and death in this tongue. This little member can cause quite a fire if we don't have control over it. That's why we really have to have the Spirit of God to understand and know how far to go and when to hold that thing back. If you don't have the Spirit of God controlling that tongue, it can be very destructive, very destructive. And we hear that, we see that, we know that the power of so many who have come before us, that they never used their hands to attack anyone. They never used a weapon to attack anyone, but their words were so powerful that it destroyed. Come on, let's talk about the Holocaust. And then I think about this, JD. We, you, Antoinette, and I, we took an equality class together. And one of the things that I learned that has really been a help to me in that equality class is that if I can change the person, say for instance, the situation is a Black woman saying something to a Black male, and the conversation is contentious. If I change it to a white woman saying something to a Black male, and the same problems and issues lie, then it's probably just a conversation that needs to be had. But if everything about the same words change, tone, context, all of that, where it causes outrage, then that's probably a big problem. That's probably something that shouldn't have been said. The way I'm posing this, let's take Tucker Carlson from Fox News. If we put him in Kevin Samuel's seat and allow him to say the things he said, that say the same things that Kevin Samuel said to the same people that Kevin Samuel said them to, the Black community would be in uproar and outrage.
Well,
We would be marching in the street.
let me jump in right here real quick. What's the name of the person you said?
Tucker Carlson.
Is he white?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that. I have seen several instances of where white women would come up on Kevin's show and try to talk down to Black women and try to give their opinion of what Black women needed to do. Do you know what Kevin did?
Doesn't matter if
He
Tucker
shut it
Carlson
down
said the
every
same
time.
things
No,
that
no,
Kevin
wait,
said
wait,
to the
it
same
does matter.
people
It
that
does
Kevin said
matter.
them to her, we would be throwing stones at
Yeah,
Tucker.
it does matter because Kevin was an advocate for the Black community and to build the Black community and to build more Black families, right? Kevin would absolutely shut that down
But you
every
know what
time,
though,
every
JD?
time. Because
JD,
wait,
you're missing my point. You're spinning this to something else. You're missing my point. If someone else cannot sit in that same seat and say the same things to the same people that he said, and there not be an issue, then there's probably an issue with what was being said.
No, I don't. I
And then
disagree.
on top of that, on top of that, JD, his fruit, we're seeing the evidence of the fruit that he bear.
What do you mean by that?
If his mission was to bring us together, then why are we so divided on the topic of Kevin Samuels?
The reason we're so divided by it is, in my opinion, people don't want to hear the truth. People don't
You
want
will
to
know
hear
the
the truth.
tree by the fruit it bears.
Okay, let me throw this point at you, and then Antoinette, we're gonna come back to you and let you jump in here. That clip that went viral not long ago about Cam Newton, right? what Cam Newton said on that podcast. Well, let me see. Is this clip?
I knew what.
All right, let me bring the screen up here. Let me bring up Exhibit B. Okay.
A woman was not a bad.
Okay, what's the difference?
A woman.
Okay.
A bad is a person who's just, you know, girl, I'm a bad. You know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I look the part, but I don't act the part.
Cam Newton, a man who certainly tries to look the part every time he's in public, had some hateful comments on a hateful network.
And it's a lot of women who are bad. And I say in a way, not to degrade a woman, but just to go off the aesthetic of what they deem is a boss chick. Now, a woman for me is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs.
On the show, $1 million worth of game.
All right. What do y'all think about that? Cam Newton got drugged for this, by the way. And he didn't raise his voice. His tone was cool, calm, and collected. And he said what he saw his mother do, right? And that's what he wanted. And he got drugged through the mud. If men are saying what men want, right? How in the world are we supposed to say it? If you can't say it if you can't be direct and blunt and shocking like Kevin, if you can't say it like Cam Newton, how are we supposed to say it?
I think Cam Newton got drugged because of what Pastor Rob said. You got to practice what you preach. He wants a woman that's not out here portraying the bad bee image, but a woman that is wholesome and being a mother and a wife that he desires. Well, he made mothers out of, I believe, 2 or 3 women 4 times over and didn't marry either one of them.
Do you know why?
He chose those women and he chose to procreate with one multiple times.
True. That is very true. But could it be that she didn't display those qualities that he wanted?
So why do you keep choosing to procreate with this woman?
Right now, go ahead, Pastor Rob.
So just listening to his comment and just, all right, I'm a man. I just gotta shoot y'all straight, right? I know y'all see Pastor Rob on the thing. I am Pastor Rob. I gotta shoot you straight, just real quick, right? Back in my day, right, from teenage up until my 20s, I was a straight hoe. Just put it out there, right? I was knocking them down left and right. Didn't have. I was just loosely out there, right? I knew the type of woman I really wanted to marry, and I really wanted to be my wife. But I also knew, I was young and dumb, as they say, young, dumb, full of cum, just going out there, just doing whatever, right? So men and women, just not just men, but men and women, they go through those. Some go through those phases, and some stay in those phases, right? Back in the hood, you got your hood chicks. Let's just put it out there. You got your hood chicks, and you got your wannabe hood chicks, but they got their professionalism going on. Then you got your professional females. You got your stuck up females. So you got all this, and the exact same thing with men, right? Men and women choose what they want, right? If, like for instance, Cam Newton, he got all these different baby mamas, right? That's something that he chose. When Cam Newton's a dang on millionaire, right? He can pretty much get any woman that he wants because of his money. Not any woman, but he can get a nice woman with just by the money he got, right? But if he chose, excuse my French, to get him a bad bitch, the one that say she got this, she got that, in my language of bad bitch is one that's handling her business. One that got this, got that. She don't need a man for nothing. That's one of those me, right? Independent woman, but she's submissive at the same time to her husband. You see what I'm saying? But a real woman, let's take it back biblical, want a man that's going to love her just as Christ loved the church. Let's put it that way. That's what a real woman wants, and that's what a man should do for a real woman. Love her like Christ loved the church, right? So all these men that's going out there degrading women, doing this and that, just being loosely like I was back in the day, because that I was one of them, right? But God delivered me from that, right? That's a delivering process that has to take place with all of that situation that's going on, even with Kevin Samuels, right? Whatever he done in his past, or whatever he's still doing in his future, that's between him and God. But that's something that he had to get delivered from, right? Right now, I know people probably still out there in the hood talking about me, what I used to do, and this and that. That's what I used to do, right? But when you become a child of God, the Bible says, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creature. Old things have passed away, behold, all things become new. JD, you can probably attest to it. When people see you, and even you, anyone on this call, on this line can see, when you change for the better, right? When people see you from your past, they do what? Bring up your past, right? But we should not allow our past to dictate our future, right? We all have to grow up spiritually from that. So when you know better, you'll do better. So Cam Newton, he's weird anyway. I'm just weird. He's just a weird creature, right? Cam is just weird, right? so he should have been he should have been drugged. Even what he had on, he should have been drugged. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's what I got to say. That's just my example, my testimony. I was out there, I did that, but God had to change me from that foolishness. So just like JD gave his before the show started, God had to change me from that foolishness. But if I don't change, I'm still gonna be just like that. So that's it, man.
All right, all right, I can dig it. Antoinette, it's your turn. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Antoinette.
Ooh, that's a lot, y'all. Well, I mean, change is in who and what you want to be. And if you are lucky enough to find your partner before your eggs and your sperm don't work, then so be it. But until then, if you find somebody that you're like, okay, they got some good genes, well, then, baby, we're going to get together and procreate. Whether I got a ring or not, that's just how it is. Because at the end of the day, am I able to provide? Am I going to have a good little set of little munchkins that's going to be cute and we could, move on and co-parent, whatever? Then I'm okay with that. Now, if you later on down the line, I find my then so be it. I find my person, and guess what? He has everything that he could desire. You want me to be Whitney? You want me to be Tina? Who you want me to be today, baby? That's who you gonna get. All right. So, we gonna date. I could sit up there. We could pretend to be hoes together, but we're doing it together. But at the end of the day, the relationship is between us. Now, if we need to go ahead and seek therapy, would Kevin be somebody that I would look at for a counseling session? Probably not, because he seemed like he one of the hood boys that, like JD said, you had conversations in the barbershop. He's also a man, a Greek man of Kappa Alpha Psi. So, he a pretty boy. He dressed good. The facade was, hey, you look nice. You do this. What that is? What that is, Pastor? Oh, okay. I see you. I saw that a while ago. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's all about that crimson and cream. All right. But anyway, back on it. I'm coming back. I'm coming back, y'all. relationship wise, Kevin wouldn't be somebody that I would say, hey, baby, we need to sit up there and get some counseling with him. I'm not going to do it. We're going to sit up there and we're going to check into some Black mental health and then move forward. Now, Kevin might have been somebody for entertainment purposes, as far as from my perspective, would have been entertainment purposes. So that way we could kiki and ha ha. But somebody that I would sit up there and be like, okay, I want you to represent us in the community and let's go forward. And then what your word is bond. No, not from the stuff that I saw. And then with conversations with some of my other friends and counterparts, they're like, okay, if you were overweight and this and other, you can hear it and advice shooting from the hip, shooting straight, narrow, whatever. But again, it's also about delivery. I'm all about don't sugarcoat nothing. I'm not a sugar-coated person. I mean, I'm just like sugarcane, just bite me and there it is. Okay. But again, it's all in your audience. It's all in the message. If you have a mission, you have a message, give that disclaimer in the beginning because you need to be focused on where you started and what your why was. Don't get caught up in the foolishness because then at the end of the day, here we are trying to dig around your foolishness to figure out what your polished entities were. You the one who gonna be ending up in a conundrum, and then you're gonna not. It's just crazy because this man, if he made such a big difference, like we said in the beginning, we should not have two, 3, 10 scales to balance out what this man represented and what kind of impact he gave. It's just I wouldn't want to be in that position. I wouldn't.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to find another clip. Right. Alabama Church Girl, you wanted to jump in too?
I just know that this past weekend was really hard for me. Because it was Mother's Day weekend and my mom passed recently. And it was difficult for me. And I spent the 2 weeks leading up to this past weekend, I felt anxiety. I felt it coming. Like I had to tell my husband, hey, you're going to have to take the lead on getting gifts for your mom and all, because I just can't right now. I can't do it right now. And I kept going, trying to, just overcome that. And when the weekend came and people began to post online and I sat down and got still and dealt with my emotions, it was very, very difficult for me. And I had to acknowledge that I'm still mourning her, and not just me. People in my family, people that go to church with her, people that she knew, people that she ministered to are still mourning her. And all the people that I know that know her, people she worked with, because my mom was a nurse, they all have the same message about her of how much she cared for people. Sanctified woman, always always got a message to preach to you. And sometimes my mama was a hard truth teller. She was. When I was young, I used to think she was mean because she told the truth so hard. But as I got older and grew into my own womanhood, I appreciated and valued that hard truth that she told. But I think the most value that I gained from it is how she did it in love. My mama never used curse words, and she forbid us to ever use them either. I never heard my mom curse, ever, not even a slip up. I never seen my mom wear pants. It wasn't until I had my son that I saw my mom even put on some lipstick, y'all. She was that kind of sanctified. Oh, still wearing her white nursing uniform to the prison. That type of sanctified. But she challenged me to be better. She expected excellence. She would tell us, 3 girls in the house, she would tell us, you're not average. If someone else in that classroom can make 100, you can too. Because God didn't give them nothing more than they gave you. She was that type of hardcore. Like, if I made a 90, I was on punishment. That type of hardcore. Hard truths, stuff I remember experiencing racism in school from my teacher and trying to explain that to she did not care. And she was not going up to that school to fight no battle for me. Because beyond that person being racist, you still got to get that education. Go do your job and get on out of there. That's just the way it was. And in all of that, I appreciate and value the seeds that she left in this earth, that people can still say the same wonderful things about her life. I wasn't the only one that saw her as a hard truth teller, but everybody that know her knows that it was done in love and appreciates and values. My mom had a ministry called Share Ministry, where she reached out to women who were struggling, whether they were single women, whether they were married women, whether they were divorced women, whether they were single mothers. She had a outreach ministry that she would get the women together to help each other, support each other in whatever state they were in. And there are so many women that have so many profound things to say about her. And I'm sharing all this because in this guy's death, I'm sure his mom has to feel some type of hurt that everyone, with all that following he has so many people that cannot mourn him with grace and with love. I'm sure that has to hurt her heart, because what we put out in this earth, the stories that we want people to tell after we're gone, we're writing those stories in our life every day. That's why we have to be careful with God's people. We have to. Because in the end, how you affected people is going to determine how they respond to you. That's the way I see it.
Well, your point is very well taken, Alabama church girl. I think that it's more people that he's helped than the ones that spewing hate, right? Than the ones that's celebrating his death. And Kev said on many occasions that his mother and his daughter watched his content all the time, and they agreed with much of what he's saying. But we got somebody in the back that wants to come up to share their thoughts. We have Gabrielle White in the building. Say something to the people, Gab. You're on mute.
All right. Hey everyone. You guys can hear me?
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So,
It's good for you to be here, Gab. Go ahead.
thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much. I enjoy watching all of you, and I'm enjoying the conversation. First and foremost, to Alabama church girl, my heart goes out to you. I know that's a very difficult thing to deal with, and a lot of people forget that when holidays roll around, we have other people around us, and within our family, within our circles that are going through a tough times, and not everything is celebratory. So my heart goes out to you, and in this time. This is a very interesting topic. Whenever you guys touch on Kevin Samuels and some of these experts, I always find it interesting, particularly Kevin being so controversial. But something I wanted to chime in that came up for me. It was too much to type, but personally, I was raised by a dad. If I was to not testify, but just to share a bit of my own story. Um, and I haven't watched all of Kevin's material, but I have caught some of it. And I was raised by a dad that, as an athlete, you know, he would flat out say to me, second place is the first loser. I come home with a test. I get a 98. Where's the rest of the points? Oh, and there was a bonus for 5 points. So you down 7. What happened? Right? The bar was always kept high. Did that mean he wasn't proud of me? Did that mean he didn't love me? No, it didn't. But he kept a standard. And what I see across society is we seem to have a fear over simply having a standard. And at some point, men and women did start settling, um, and with the justification, right? Because we have all these, even though we want to wrap it up and say, call them reasons, and it's justification, we're still kind of making excuses for our own behavior, like in defense, and deflecting. And I will say honestly, if I was to be honest and say this publicly, in the time of my life when I rebelled against my father, right? And I said, oh, to heck with all this wisdom and instruction from my father, who was more so along Kevin Samuels, in a sense, not the misogyny, but just his view of women, how we ought to carry ourselves, and just our conduct with men. When I said, you know what, to heck with all of this, right? I'm going to be independent. I'm going to be very vocal in my relationships. I disapprove of my parents' marriage. I viewed my mother's submission as her being a punk. I saw my dad as the strength and the power in the household. And I said, I'm going to be the strength and the power in my relationships. No man is going to run me, right? If I were to be perfectly honest, that left me a baby mama, period. And I was not raped, right? So, when I see comments even, and this is being fully transparent, when I see comments about, oh, well, she had the baby for him and because he was calling her, and these men, they want the women, and, men take what's available, period. And at some point, women, I would like to see more women kind of owning up to that. Now, am I saying that they can't be charming? They don't give you a promise of going to the altar and then there's some kind of bait and switch, but then it happens on both sides. So I say all that to say, when I changed my attitude and I changed my behavior and I became more what is floating around as the term cooperative, I started attracting a better and higher caliber of men. And naturally, I didn't have to plot. I didn't need Cosmopolitan magazine's top 10 tips and tricks to get a man. I didn't have to, be on my head top. I didn't have to have Meg the Stallion knees. I was able to conduct and carry myself as a woman and still retain my voice and autonomy within my relationship. So I just wanted to share all that. Do I have moments where I'm like, oh, he's the devil? Of course, Kevin is off the wall. He's off the chain. But myself personally, I do have a marketing background, so I understand that with influencers and celebrities, sometimes they're selling sizzle. He did pivot, and I appreciated. I forget who it was commented and said that he did switch up his messaging. So for whatever reason, who knows what his metrics was looking like? you know, but he definitely did something and got on everyone's radar. So that's my piece.
Girl, don't like. Please keep working out the knees. You need the knees.
Okay,
But
I'll invite you to the wedding. I promise.
Megan should not be the gold standard, right?
No.
Let me just put that
You
out
get that
there.
husband, you want to be able to give him the knees.
Yo, shout out to Gabrielle White. You could come up anytime, Gabrielle, and if you want to stay up for the rest of the show, you're more than welcome to do so. If you want to stay up, it's up to you. Okay, cool. So I got another video I want to play, right? And this one, and we're running low on time, y'all. But I wanted to bring up two other names, Shahrazad Ali and Louis Farrakhan, right? Now, Louis Farrakhan, Nation of Islam, right? He was or is a very, very vocal figure in the community, right? And he's been known for not saying things in the most meek manner either. However, Shahrazad Ali, she was a little bit more meek, but let's just hear what Lewis has to say about this, and we're going to get into it.
Don't force the man to get into debt when you know debt is slavery, just so you could look good for a minute and suffer when you can't pay the bills. Who are you trying to please? Start small and grow large, like everything else does. But if you want everything right away, you don't want to work for nothing, you don't want to sacrifice to build nothing, you will never have nothing, and you won't have a man, because a man can't be a man when he's saddled down up to his neck in debt with a dissatisfied woman who don't give a damn. She want more and more and more. Let me tell you something, woman. You'll never be a happy woman dogging your man out. He's not a man yet, but he will be. But if you keep on dogging him, you won't have nothing, and you'll end up being a lesbian at home with yourself, with no man by your side because your damn mouth.
What do y'all think about that?
I grew up in a sanctified church. And if you know anything about the holiness and sanctified folk and a sanctified preacher that preached hellfire and brimstone, that's what it gave. But at the same time, I didn't hear him attacking the women's waistline and their age and all of that. Talking about behavior versus talking about a person are two different things.
Now, are you trying to say that that's all Kevin talked about was the waistlines and the collarbones?
I never said that's all. JD, you try to get me in sticky situations, but honey,
no, but
I fall down and grease down with the anointing. I never said all. It's never all, but it's always some.
That's what you said. But
no,
what I'm
I
saying,
did not say all. Where did you
what
get
I'm
that
saying
word
is,
from, JD?
but
That
what
came
I'm
out of your
saying,
mouth.
what I'm saying is that same clip is a lot of what Kevin talked about.
Did you hear what I said?
I heard what you said.
Talking about behavior.
But that's what I'm saying. Kevin talked about behavior. Kevin talked about behavior too.
I know, but what made him popular was those clips when he denigrated the person. Even the clip where he talked about the man's penis size, that he got a lot of views off of that. He was working the algorithms. That's different from talking about your behavior.
He was telling the truth.
The difference is
we don't know what that man
was
in that man's pants, and we didn't need to know what was in that man. Kevin didn't even need to ask what was in that man's pants.
We probably talking about two different things.
That's kind of suspect for him to ask that question. Would you be asking a man what size his peen is?
Absolutely not.
Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. But he understood how to get the algorithm up.
Go ahead, Pastor Rob.
Well, from the clip, he from the clip, he spoke truth, right? That was the truth, right? So, but it's twofold, man. You got men dogging women, women dogging men. I mean, it's a twofold. I just got to take it back to the word of God. Do unto others after you have them to do unto you, right? So, Kevin, he did it his way that attracted people, right? Because, like I told you from the beginning, that's the way he made his money. You see what I'm saying? The more viewers he get, the more money he get, right? So of course he's gonna do whatever attracts the crowd, right? But you go back to what my buddy just said then, at some point, not just the woman, but everybody need to grow the hell up. Everybody, right? Just need to grow up and just be real about the situation. So now Alabama church girl, I had no clue this man around here asking folks what's inside their pants, right? So that right there gave me a little suspect, right?
I've never heard of that.
If he did that, bro, that's a little suspect, right? That means he like both. That just me, me personally. I'm listen. I'm not for the action of the man. Blah blah blah. I played football in high school and college. I've been in the shower with guys and never even looked at a guy like that, or even tried to look at a Negro that way. We walk around naked. I ain't never looked at another man's thing. It is what it is, right? So that's a little suspect for me personally. But no, I mean, women, give your man an opportunity. If you with him, you gonna be his ride or die, right? My wife is my ride or die, right? Just recently, I had a contract to end with my job, right? So I was going to be jobless, right? Went from making 100 and some grand a year, now making close to $30,000 less, right? Right, maybe a little over $30,000 less, right? She could have been like, "Oh, this nigga ain't doing blah blah blah." No, baby, we got this, right? Let's sit down. Let's do some budgeting. Let's see what we need to cut out some, right? Okay, Rob, this Hun Lang need to let go, but you can keep this one. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about sacrificing, right? In order for all this. So I totally agree with the clip. Women, stop degrading your men. Men, stop degrading your women. And everybody, happy wife, happy life, happy husband, happy life. It works both ways, right? So that's my intake, JD. Agree or disagree, Doc. Agree or disagree.
Hey, but see, this is the beauty about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can agree to disagree, and we still cool.
That's
You
right.
understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
It's all love over here. Antoinette, we're gonna go to you, and then we're gonna go to Gabrielle.
It's all about structure and discipline. The structure and discipline of Islam is such that is different from the dress down to the approach, down to the responses, down to the actions of a day-to-day schedule. Okay, and whatever teachings they have. Now, as far as with Kevin, if he was promoting for the community and what have you, then he should have gave his little inserts like, okay, well, if y'all so overweight and do, then here it goes Toya's double dutch team. Here goes D Fitness. So we all could do a virtual workout. I'll even do it with you and do it my little Kappa shimmy with it. He could have kept it on a positive if that's what he needed to do. So if
Well,
we're
okay. Well, hang
I'm
on
just
for a
saying
second.
from my understanding and from my view of what I know of him. If that was the case, then he should have plugged it in. Plug it in, and get the community going. Because if he knew that he was getting all this negative vibes back from everybody from shooting it straight, then be like, all right, okay, let me flip it on you. Let me go ahead and insert these little sponsors here too from what I'm trying to say. Y'all don't like me giving this information raw and unfiltered, then here go these other little sponsors that could pussyfoot with you and then keep it pushing. There's a way, there's a method to the madness on how you could give information, on how you could do advice, on how you could just, BS if that's what you're trying to do. There's a method in the madness. And fortunate, depends on which glasses you got on. He helped some people and he didn't. Everybody got their own opinions on it. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you can't look in the mirror and be like, I did my best and it is what it is, then I have nothing for you. Now, as far as with the relationship goes, what's in your bedroom is in your bedroom. But I was too tickled about being a lesbian at home by yourself. That's I have to send me that clip because I said I need to look at that. I just need to see this.
Oh, I'll send it to you. All right, I'll send it to
Thank
you. All
you.
right. But the thing about it is that, like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, men waking up, right, and realizing that we don't have to just deal with any and everything, right? And men are standing up and just walking away, right? And I'll just be honest with you. It was a point in my life not long ago to where I thought, well, you know what? I guess this is it. I guess I'll be single because there's nobody really out there. But I had to kind of open up my eyes and realize that it's somebody out there for me. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the fact that men are realizing, hey, and again, we're talking about these men over here, right? We're not talking about these men down here. We're not talking about the Pookies and the Ray Rays, right? So if men have done the work to better themselves, to get on a better level, right? To what women say that they want, then we don't have to accept anything either. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to accept just anything. And y'all, like I said, Kevin was way harder on the men when he was talking to men. Absolutely. Matter of fact, Kevin said that a man should be able to pay for everything. You know what I'm saying?
That I say amen.
If not everything, mostly everything, right? The men should be able to take care of the majority, if not all, of the financial load. Gabrielle is back with us. Share your thoughts on what we just saw.
I think I have a delay or something going on with my internet. So, y'all just pardon me.
Go ahead.
Not echo. Okay. You can hear me? Okay. All right. So this is hilarious. Um, the discipline part, I found that really interesting. Um, I'm sorry, the echo's kind of distracting. Can I be right back? I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. Drop down and then come right back.
Huh?
Drop down and come right back.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
While Gabrielle is getting together, has any of y'all ever watched uh, a full broadcast of Kevin Samuel's start to finish? No.
So
I
since
have
this
not.
tragedy, I have. Before I vowed not to because I just couldn't stomach it, but I was really trying to get more insight, so I did watch some things over the weekend. I kind of got fully enthralled in the story, so yes, I did.
Okay. Let's see. Gabrielle, are you back? Can you hear us?
Okay, I
All
hear
right.
you
Go
much
ahead.
better. Okay, we're clear. Okay, so yes, their culture is largely based on discipline. There's a great emphasis on discipline, and I've often admired their culture for the level of discipline and the depths they go to have structure and to keep things on even plane, so to speak, right? Now, the thing is, culturally, not everyone can get with their um, delivery, particularly his. However, if you really listen to what he's saying, though, right? How many of us, and this is what I mean, like when I get concerned when we look at leaders and we're so critical, because it can get like, okay, cool, treat others how you want to be treated and all this other stuff. But like, how many of us are truly perfect and really leading to the level some of these people are leading? And him talking about the debt that's being created because of the demands, we cannot overlook the fact that there are some women who are making these demands. And not only are there some women, a lot of women making these demands, whether they're being public about it or it's private in their house, there are a great deal of women with these high, expectations. And it does affect the household. And quite honestly, I get it. Men are strong in their builds and how we view them, what we expect of them. But our downfall is really these expectations. Like, we're not even in agreement on a lot of things. And because when did we get an agreement on how much a man ought to take or deal with? I mean, operating under certain pressures, because if he's going to be the head of the household and he's doing everything, and then you know the budget sheet, if you know the finances of your household, and you're going above and beyond and you're saying, okay, let's plow ourselves into debt. I believe life happens in phases and stages. And too many people, and the topic is floating around now, don't want to work. And I believe unless even if you're born with it like that, you still have to show up and work or you'll lose your inheritance. So I don't know. Once again, it's one of those things where, and maybe it goes back to my own upbringing, I don't look at it as I'm going to get all wound up in the delivery, because he's really saying something. If I keep beating my man over the head, he's bringing it back. He's being a producer. He's going out there and he's building, he's working, he's pulling something in, he's contributing to the household. So how much can I keep beating him and beating him and beating him? And he still wants to keep a roof over my head. He still wants to keep providing for me. He still wants to keep showing up. He still wants to care for my emotions when he's still carrying his own stuff. That's the part where I get confused. And then as a woman, I'm kind of like, I side with my sisters, ride or die, girl code and all that. But then at what point do we take ownership or start being realistic to some of these situations? Because we need more marriages. We need more two-parent households. And we can go back and forth and be right as we want to, but then you're going to be right by yourself. So that message about the lesbianism didn't fly over my head. I was laughing because it's true. At some point, we have to work together. A man has fear and pain, just like we have fear and hurt and pain. And so I don't know, it's only so much he can take, like there's so much I can take. I don't know.
Go ahead, Pastor Rob.
So I agree with you totally, right? But the big question of the night on that is that your boo or is that your husband? You see what I'm saying? It's a difference. Your husband, it should be ride or die. Your boo, if he's just gonna be your boo for now on, or do you see yourself with this person in the future, right? Because with my ex-wife, she never should have been my wife, right? I just be honest, she never should have. We were somewhat put together. I was a minister, her dad was a pastor. We were just kicking. I had just got back from Miami. I'm having fun. I was still in my 20s. I'm having fun, right? And y'all should get married, right? We get married 2 months after we're married. Boom, here come my oldest, right? Knowing from the beginning this was not supposed to be my wife, but I'm gonna make it work, right? Those out of that marriage, I got a beautiful daughter out of that marriage, right? But that was hell. I went through hell, right? And basically, God got me back for all the crap that I did back in the day. It came back on me, right? For what I did. But you have to know, like you said, I think the last show, Antoinette, well, it's going to be my little hit it, split it. We just hit every now and then. You got to know whether it's just your little hit or quitter or whether this is my husband, this is my wife, right? Don't put your hit or quitter in JD. We don't need to put those one we just hit. You're going to hit in wifey status. Don't do that, because when you put that person in wifey status, you setting yourself up for failure, because they're not going to give you what you need. They may be giving you what you want, but not what you need. So that goes to the standards we was talking about earlier. Women, stop lowering your standards. Men, stop lowering your standards. Do not settle. You know what you want and what you need. Don't settle. Listen, women, they got, if you just looking for to get you one off, they got toys out there for that, sweetie. It ain't that deep. They got toys. You know what I'm saying? Men, they got stuff out there for you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just being real. So don't put yourself into a predicament where you're compromising. You know what I'm saying? Especially a single mother. If you got a child that you're raising and you trying to bring another person in, and you do not do that, because you're settling. Don't settle. If you know this person cannot be a good father to your child, don't put yourself in that predicament. Just yesterday here in Montgomery at Sam's Club, a guy killed his stepfather for messing around with his sister. You see what I'm saying? You have to know what you're dealing with. Come on. So, ladies and men, do not settle. Okay? Women, a man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing, not a woman that findeth a man. You prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for your man to come to you. Okay? Prepare yourself. You get prepared. And he will find you when it's time for him to find you. The thing is, put yourself into a position to be found.
I'm gonna let you go, Alabama church girl. I just want to say what Pastor Rob said is on point. He said he that findeth a wife, right? You have to be a wife in order to be found. Go ahead, Alabama church girl.
So I'm just loving the point that Gabrielle raised, and it really helps frame the conversation better from my perspective, that we as women should probably get together and have this conversation. Let's exclude the men out of the room for just a moment. And we need to get together and have this conversation amongst ourselves. I think that part of what I'm seeing and the disconnect and discord that I see between women is that just like JD always points out, the men that are up here and the men that are here, we have that same situation going on with amongst us girls. But when the conversation is had, it's all gathered in as one big conglomerate. And then there's infighting because not all of us are the same. Not all of us feel the same way. I am for a woman. I love a lot of the points that Pastor Rob brought up because those are things that I can hear myself saying to a daughter if I had a daughter. That, you know, make sure you're taking care of self, but you got to take care of your spouse as well. You know, it's twofold. But and I love to, if y'all know me, if you follow me on my social media, if you know me in my real life, you know that I am a supporter of the ladies. I love women. I'm my mama's child. My mama had Share Ministries, and I kind of, you know, follow up with that, although I don't have a title on it. But along with it, though, I don't like to see us fighting over how we treat our men, and you need to do this, and you ought to do this, and you. Everybody has, you know, a free choice on how they're gonna handle their relationship, what you're gonna do in your relationship. But I'm gonna tell you, you know, what works for me and what didn't work for me. And we can get together and we can swap wisdom. But I don't like to fight over that. Or how you should do for your man, and you ought to, because honey, every man ain't looking for the same type of woman. That's why God created so much diversity amongst us. And all men are not the same, you know. So, you know, we should not be fighting over that. We shouldn't. It should not cause such a divide amongst us that we're online and, you know, all out in the public acting wild, as my mama would say. We shouldn't be doing that. We really should not be doing that, because just my form of submission to my husband, because I do submit to my husband, might look different from Antoinette's performance of submission to her God. Or it might look different to Gabrielle's performance of submission to her God. Because guess what? We're not all connected to the same God. You know? So I can't tell her how to submit to her God. You know what I mean? And she might not even want a guy. She might want to be left alone and a lesbian. You know what I mean? So, you know, so it is what it is.
Yo, so but and y'all, we're far past our time. We about to get ready to wrap this thing up. But I think that, and your point is very well taken. You know, it's not going to be exactly the same across the board for everybody, right? But I do think that we're more alike than we are different, right? I do think that because the foundation, right? The foundation looks similar in a lot of places, right? But the house can be designed in a lot of different ways, but the foundation is basic, right? The foundation is usually, you know, kind of the same every time. But Pastor Rob said something, y'all, that triggered my spirit. And I don't really like that word triggered, but let me say it dropped something in my spirit. I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all the cheat code for next week. Next week we're gonna talk about what it looks like to settle. Is it settling, or is it getting what you qualify for? Are you getting what's equally yoked, or are you settling? So we're gonna talk about that, because some people use that word settling and take it as a negative in a negative context, right? So that's the cheat code for next week. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know now, so you know, y'all can get y'all's research together, get your video clips, send them to me, and we're gonna do the doggone thing. We're gonna talk about settling next week, but y'all, we got to get up out of here. I'm still grieving the Godfather. A lot of people in this community are as well. The streams, man. A lot of people are live streaming right now, giving their thoughts and their condolences and saying what Kevin Samuels meant to them. And again, like I said at the top of the broadcast, everything and everybody is not always 100%, right? But at the root of the message, can we eat the meat and spit out the bones? Can we eat the meat and spit out the bones? And yeah, I'm gonna go around the panel for everybody to give their final thoughts. Alabama Church Girl, let's start with you.
Um, like I stated before, my final thought is that, the story that we want told after we've expired is the story that we're writing from day to day. So let's write beautiful stories if we want a beautiful story told. Along with that, I do mourn with those that are mourning.
All right. Thank you very much, Alabama Church Girl. Antoinette, let's go to you.
Write your obituaries now. Have your will already certified, all that good stuff, so that way people can know how you want to go when you go. And make sure you have life insurance. Light my candles for everybody that's transitioned on over, and for the strength of everybody else that needs it. Val, I love you. And that's all I got.
Excellent. Gabrielle, let's go with you next.
All right. Well, my condolences to Kevin's family and his fans that are mourning him, his loss right now. And just in closing, live how you want to be remembered. You are the teller of your story. You hold the pen. You are the captain of your ship. You steer it. And regardless if people will miss the message or whether they understand you or not, go forth and do it anyway. We weren't made to be in agreement. And God is the manufacturer of us all. So just, keep writing your own story. If you're passionate about something and you're living by principles, keep spreading that word, because someone is connected to you, someone is assigned to you, someone is receiving the message, and it's important that they get it. So our dear Kevin Samuels, some loved him, some couldn't stand him. Some people were on the fence, as we've heard today. Hey, when the manufacturer creates something, they create it with a purpose, right? And Kevin was created for a purpose. He was a son of God. Whether he was a good one or a bad one, judgment is not for us. Judgment wasn't even for Jesus, right? So God made Kevin for a purpose, and hopefully we found something, we extracted something to see what that purpose was. And it could have been for correction, and it could have also been not necessarily for the correction of others, but for those of us who got to witness him, because we're still here standing as influencers within our own respective communities. So as we all leave here tonight and go forward, what kind of influencer are you in your own life and in your own community? And how are you going to keep telling your story? So thank you so much for having me on. It was an honor and a pleasure. That's my piece.
Struggle streaming. Pastor Rob, Gabrielle, thank you so much for joining us. You can come back anytime. Pastor Rob, my brother, go ahead and close us out, man.
All right. Well, everybody pretty much said a lot. You guys have been in my Bible study that I did on tonight, and I did it out of Romans 12. And the question that I posed is, how are you living? That was my question. How are you living? So, Alabama Church Girl, you hit it. Antoinette, you hit it. Gabrielle, you hit it. We live our eulogy every single day. The saying is being, may the works I've done speak for me. So I just want to encourage everybody I told them on Sunday, change for the better. That's what I told my mothers and my men, change for the better. So we have to make sure the life that we're living, are we changing for the better, or are we just staying the same? So live your eulogy each and every day, because when you're here, people are going to talk about you. When you're dead and gone, people are going to talk about you. But the life that you're living, make sure that it's pleasing and acceptable, not unto man, but unto God. Right? So that's all I got to say. I'm looking forward to next week. And other than that, you guys have a blessed rest of the week.
All right. Thank y'all so much. We're about to get out of here. Y'all, I'm celebrating the Godfather. That was like an uncle to me, right? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to end the show just like I started the show with the tribute to the Godfather with his theme music or whatever. So I know everybody didn't feel the same way about Kevin as I did, right? Or as I still do. So what I'm going to do now, I am going to bid you all a little good night. I love every one of you. And before I go, in the Facebook group, we're going to start doing some exclusive content just in the Facebook group. So if you have not joined over there, please go over there and do so. We got some big things coming. And y'all, we only going up from here. You ain't seen nothing yet. So I'm going to drop y'all down. Thank y'all so much for coming. And we're going to end with the Godfather's theme song. Shout out to the Godfather. Good night, y'all. We gone. Hey, don't forget to like the video, y'all. Don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe. We gone, y'all. Peace.
Yes. I cannot say what's wrong or right. No. It's not hard to fool me. No. 'Cause I'm addicted to the good life. Yes. Yeah. Either way, I follow. No need to say where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of
R.I.P. to the Godfather. Rest in power, King.
To the edge of it all. So tell your good night. 'Cause I'll find no matter what. Yeah. Susceptible now. Before the moment flies. Ooh. So tell you good night. 'Cause I'll find a man.